Hi guys, welcome to Tone Zone. Today we've got an episode for the true sound nerds out there, so get your headphones out because we're doing a blindfold test of 4 different types of cables. For a beginning guitar player out there, it can be a real jungle trying to find the right guitar cable, because there's so many brands and lengths and price points to choose from. So to check it out for you guys, we lined up 4 different types of cables at different price points to see if there's a clear difference in sound and feel and sturdiness. So I definitely recommend to get your headphones out for this one. Let's introduce you to the lineup. We've got the Fender California series, which is kind of the most affordable one here. We've got the Monster Cable Classic. We've got the D'addario American Stage. And at the top of the line, we've got the quite expensive Evidence Audio, the Forte. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna put on my blindfold and our cameraman is gonna hand me the guitar with the different cables attached. So I don't know which one is which. We've got just the Mad Professor amp and a Sur Strat and the cable. That's it, so we can keep the sound as straight and true as possible. Right, I'm really eager to get started, so let's get going. Right. This is the first cable I'm checking out, so I don't really have any context. So let's move on to the next one. Right, so this one seemed to be a little rounder sounding in the top end, like a little bit fuller in the top end, but I'm not quite sure. They're really similar. I mean, it's really hard to hear just the difference between a couple of cables, but this one seemed to be a bit more rounded and a bit more full in the top end, but that's just about all I can say about it. Right, next. Again, it's just it's pretty damn difficult to set them apart. I felt this one might be a little bit more punchy, so a little bit more mid-focus perhaps. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it at that. It's a bit more punchy, a bit more mid-focused perhaps than the first two. Okay, on to the last one.
Hold your hand out. Yes.
Right. So you guys know already, but now it's time for me to find out which one is which. Let's check it out. Alright, so the first one was the D'addario. That's interesting. Of course, I didn't really have anything to say about it because it was the first one, so it's hard to find out, but yeah. They're great sounding cables and quite sturdy, so don't have much more to say about that. So which one was the second one? That's where it gets interesting, right?
This is the second one.
So the second one was the Fender. Right, and what did I say about this one again? It was a bit more full sounding in the top end.
A bit rounder.
Bit rounder in the top end. Right. Okay, so that could make sense in the sense that maybe the it could be a bit more rounded off sound wise. I don't know. This is by far the most affordable cable, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Right. Okay, interesting. Next.
This is the third cable.
Right. Okay. So about this one, I said that it was a bit more mid-rangey.
Bit more mid-rangey and more punchy.
Right. That's interesting because I think from evidence it would be as straight and true as possible because this is a really high-end cable. But then I had the feeling like it was a bit more... Of course, when something becomes mid-focused, it also balances things out. So I definitely thought it sounded great. That's really interesting. I would have thought it would have been the other way around, where this one would sound even more open, but it actually sounded quite tight, which is fun to play actually. So that means that the last one, of course, was the monster cable, of which I said it had a real nice balance to it, right? So it was both punchy in the low end, articulate in the low end, and punchy in the high end. So this is actually one of the more basic cables of monster cable. But it actually did really well as well. It sounded really good and seemed to have a really great overall balance. Interesting. Right, so that was our blindfold test of these 4 different cables. Could you hear a clear difference at home with your headphones on perhaps? Let us know in the comments below. For me, this was my first blindfold test and it was actually really interesting, but also very, very hard, because with cables, the difference is really quite tough to hear sometimes, but there was a difference. To recap, of course, the Fender cable, being the most affordable, actually sounded good, but one thing that you can convey on camera and with sound is of course how cables feel, which is especially live a really important part of playing and using cables, of course. So you can definitely feel the difference from that perspective. But again, sound-wise it was actually pretty good. If you go to the other end of the spectrum, the evidence cable seemed to give like a sort of natural compression or even a mid boost to the sound, which is quite unexpected for me, because I was thinking that this would be the most clear sounding, most open sounding cable. But it actually kind of gave a mid boost to my sound, which is great for playing actually, because it kind of makes the guitar easier to play as well. So that was really interesting. Apart from that, things that are special about this cable, it just uses the best kind of conductors. The build quality is really sturdy, really good. And for instance, it has this like separate input for the amp, which is this red labeled one, as for the guitar, so that also apparently makes a difference. One thing that evidence does state is that it's actually better to play the cables for a while, so they only get to their peak sound after 10 or 20 hours worth of playing. And this is a brand new one, so that's something we didn't find out yet. Still, you know, I think it's worth the money, especially for studio work. It's just an awesome cable. As for the monster cable and the D'addario, they were quite closely matched, I would say. Also in build quality, they both felt great, and also sound wise they were really closely matched. I would say there was not much in them, which is kind of logical because they're kind of the same price range and stuff. I will say the monster cable might be a little bit more flexible, which can be easier on stage, but it's a really small difference overall. Right, so that concludes our blindfold test. Now, to close out the video, we're going to do a direct comparison one after the other between the different cables, like a quick shootout, if you will. So maybe in that way it could be easier for you guys to hear the difference at home with your headphones. If you can hear a clear difference, we're really eager to find out about that in the comments, so let us know. And make sure to subscribe to the Tone Zone channel, and we hope to see you soon.